Now, if you guys did not know about this setting, drop a like on this video. I'm very curious to see how many of you guys actually found this setting very helpful, because this was one of the brand new settings that were added, and as of default, this is actually turned on. So if this helped you guys out, make sure to smash that like button. Would greatly appreciate it. Give you guys better field of view, which obviously from a distance you guys can see many more things. That could be enemies, this could be people launch padding, whatever the case may be. Now, as you can see, this is now what motion blur looks like off, and you guys can see you are able to see from a much farther distance, and the view distance is much better. So what I recommend you guys have is motion blur off, and you guys will see a huge difference here within your gameplay. Now, if you guys did not know about this setting, drop a like on this video. I'm very curious to see how many of you guys actually found this setting very helpful, because this was one of the brand new settings that were added, and as of default, this is actually turned on. So if this helped you guys out, make sure to smash that like button. Would greatly appreciate it. Now, my next major tip that I can give you guys is something that will improve your gameplay in the matter of days and give you guys such a huge advantage over every single player in all Fortnite lobbies. This is something that all of the pro players on controller are now using, so keep that in mind. If you guys are trying to become a super good player, this is something that is definitely worth checking out, because back in the day, I used to use a regular PS4 controller, but as of recent, so many guys have been asking me what controller do I use, and that is actually a Scuff gaming controller, which if you guys are not familiar with this product, essentially what this allows you to do is program any button of your choice on the back of the controller to either your jump, to either your building options, and this is something that I highly recommend you use, because I personally use it to build and jump, and this allows you to actually keep your thumbs on the thumbsticks and gives you guys so much more control, especially when you're in those build fights, as well as if you guys want to shoot and aim quicker. There's actually built-in trigger stops that will allow you guys to do that, and it is such a huge advantage if you do own this controller. So if you guys are interested, go check out the website down in the description below, and make sure you use code GhostNinja at checkout. We'll greatly appreciate it, as well as if you guys need like charging cables or any other, accessories, you guys can check them out. Links are down in the description below. Also, I want to do something super special for you guys, and that is to give away a brand new Scuff gaming controller to one lucky subscriber, as well as with a few subscribers, you're going to win 2,800 V-Bucks. So if you guys are interested in winning, all you simply have to do is drop a like on today's video, subscribe to the channel, and make sure to leave a comment right now with your Epic Games gamer tags, and make sure you guys let me know in the comment why you should win that brand new controller if you're interested. And with that being said, let's hop into the next tip. So for the next settings, I want to give you guys an overview of all of my general game controller options, and these are definitely very important to have either off or on. So the first three that I recommend you guys have to off. Then the next one here is the tap to interact, which I highly recommend you guys have on, because when you guys are either opening chests, ammo boxes, and or reviving players, you guys simply tap either square or X to then obviously do that action, and you do not need to hold the button down, so things will happen much quicker if you have this setting to on. Then some of the other settings that we're going to take a look at is the reset building choice. Obviously that's a huge one to have on, as well as underneath that, make sure to have aim assist turned on, you guys. That is a huge one when playing on controller. And then the next one we have here is the edit mode aim assist. I highly recommend you guys have that to off, because when you guys are making edits, it will just give you aim assist randomly and just make you do like edits that you're not trying to do. So I recommend to have that off. Now, some of the other settings you guys can see are obviously not as important, but once you get to the bottom, these are definitely a little bit more important, and that is the auto sort consumables to the right. Now, if you guys are either using shields, minis, or med kits or anything, and especially in the beginning of games when you guys are landing, and if you usually sort that to the right of your inventory, you might as well just put
fine, check, victory snacks, check,
Frito-Lay variety packs,
put that to on, because it will automatically go to the right of your inventory, and especially in the beginning of games when obviously you're trying to be super quick, there's a lot of people around you, this is a very helpful setting to have on. The next thing we have here is the Builder Pro build immediately. Make sure to have that option on, especially if you're using Builder Pro, which we're going to get into in a little bit here, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. The next one we have is the controller edit hold time. I have this all the way down to 0.100, so I recommend you have that, and my vibrations is off. But with that being said, that is all my general game settings. Now let's take a look at all of these sensitivities. So the next settings that we're going to be covering is the controller sensitivity, X and Y, and also the building sensitivity. Now keep in mind, don't just copy these off of me, because these work differently to all different players, and I'll explain how you guys can actually find the perfect sensitivities here for yourself. So as you guys can see, I do use a 10-10 sensitivity when it comes to X and Y, and or a 1.000. Now essentially why I use the highest sensitivity possible here in Fortnite, sensitivity, X and Y, and also the building sensitivity. Now keep in mind, don't just copy these off of me, because these work differently to all different players, and I'll explain how you guys can actually find the perfect sensitivities here for yourself. So as you guys can see, I do use a 10-10 sensitivity. When it comes to X and Y, and or a 1.000. Now essentially why I use the highest sensitivity possible here in Fortnite is because back in the day I used to use a 6.6 sensitivity, but because Fortnite has been evolving so much as of recent, you really need to be as quick as you possibly can, especially let's say if you're running and someone shoots you from behind, you need to turn around super quick to then obviously build, and if you have a slow sensitivity, you are actually going to get lasered so quickly, especially when you have AKs hitting you for like 92 in the head, and you just have weapons that are just absolutely melting you. So I highly recommend you guys have a high sensitivity for the wireless controller X and Y. Now how I actually got from a 6.6 to a 10-10 is by doing this. I went from going to playing a 6.6, then 1 month I decided, you know what, we got to step it up a little bit, and then I went to a 7.7 about a week later, then about 2 weeks later I went to an 8.8, and then about 2 weeks after that I went to a 9.9, and then a couple weeks after that I then obviously switched to a 10-10, and the progression is much easier than just going from a 6 to a 10 right away. So if you guys are playing on a slower sensitivity, just obviously make the progression, but just make it slow. Don't just go into it super quickly and just be awful at the game right off the rip. Just do it slowly, and you guys will actually see it's so much quicker to get used to that higher sensitivity. So I recommend you guys play on a high sensitivity. It doesn't have to be 10-10. I recommend anywhere between 8 and 10 is probably like a good range. So that is what I recommend for sensitivity. Now the next sensitivity we're going to cover is the building sensitivity. Now keep in mind, this goes from a 1 all the way up to a 20, which is literally double from the X and Y sensitivities, and this was something that was added about a couple months ago and is definitely super important because it's a whole different sensitivity from your X and Y. Now as you guys can see, I use a 1.30 sensitivity, which
What's that supposed to be about, baby? Scorpio, right, I'm acting crazy. When money come all the good times, baby. Try and put it down my head, shady. What's that supposed to be about, baby? Scorpio, right.
technically for your building is about a 13 sensitivity. sensitivity, comparing it to your X and Y. Now, you guys are always going to want your building sensitivity a little bit higher than your X and Y sensitivity. So if you guys, let's say, are playing on like an 8.8 sensitivity for your X and Y, I highly recommend you guys have about a 1.100 building sensitivity, because that would obviously be like an 11 sensitivity. I would honestly go between like 3 to 5 when it comes to your building sensitivity on how much you should improve it from your X and Y. So if you guys are playing on like a 5.5 sensitivity, let's say, you obviously want that to be either between like a 0.800 or like a 1.00 building sensitivity. So guys, just make sure to have your building sensitivity a little bit higher than your overall sensitivity. That is the biggest tip that I've actually realized that a lot of pro players are doing, and make sure to not have that all the way up. Now, if you can obviously manage it, it's probably cool, but at the same time, it's just a little bit too crazy if you have that sensitivity way too high, because a 20 sensitivity for building is actually insane. So for the next sensitivity, we're going to take a look at the targeting as well as with the scope sensitivity, which I personally recommend you guys try a 0.650, because I've been using this ever since season 1, and I've actually liked this so much. It's a little quick, but it's not too slow, if that makes sense, because personally, you definitely want to have a little bit of a faster advantage, especially when you're aiming in with the scope. You don't want to be sitting there with the scope out in the open for too long. You want to be quick with your shots. So I recommend you guys try this out. If it's a little bit too fast, do not go like under anything more than like a 0.500 being like the slowest. And I would probably say if you guys want to try like the fastest, maybe go up to like a 0.800, give that a shot if you guys think my personal one is a little too slow for you. But that is all of the best sensitivities here within Fortnite. Now let's take a look at the wireless controller and all of these settings you guys should have for this, as well as with the dead zone, and take a look at the sensitivity for that as well. So what I recommend you guys do is make the switch to Builder Pro, you guys. If you're at Season 8 already, this is something you guys should have done such a long time ago if you haven't already. If you're playing on Combat Pro or Old School, trust me, you guys, you're going to suck for a couple days, but in the long run of it all, it is going to be so much more work just switching to Builder Pro. I was super stubborn back in the day when I used to use Combat Pro, and then Builder Pro came out, and I was just, oh, I don't want to get used to that. That's going to take so long. But really, it only took me about 3 to 4 days, and I was used to Builder Pro, and I just got so much better at the game when switching to that. Now, the next thing that we're going to take a look at is the dead zone. So
Michael tried Tostitos, Scoops, and Salsa and started following them in real life. Tostitos, get together already.
So once you guys go to that, just click R2 twice, and you guys will see Dead Zone. And essentially, what this is as of default is 0.12, which is somewhat good, but I recommend you guys turn it down just a little bit to 0.08, which is going to give you guys a little bit of a faster response time here. And I recommend you guys just have that on that, because this has to do with your joysticks and how like responsive they are to obviously the console and or like the PC if you guys are playing with a controller on PC. So those are all my best settings and sensitivities and everything that I've been personally using here within Fortnite. Let me know if you guys have any other questions, comments, concerns down in the comments below, and I will definitely be answering as many things as I possibly can, hearting some comments. Let me know what was helpful in this video. I'd greatly appreciate that as well. Thank you all for watching the video. Go check out Scuff Gaming in the description below if you guys are interested in purchasing a brand new controller that will improve your gameplay in the matter of days. As always, leave a like on the video and subscribe if you're new, man. This video took a super long time to make, and obviously give you guys all of my best settings and stuff. So thank you all for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.
Did a school shooter training session like this go too far? It's called ALICE, short for Alert, Lockdown, Inform, Counter, Evacuate. And it offers realistic drills to deal with school shooter situations like the tragedy at the high school in Parkland, Florida last year. But teachers at one elementary school in Indiana say their ALICE training went way too far. They say they were left with welts and wounds that drew blood after being shot at by an Alice instructor with one of these. It's an airsoft gun and it fires plastic pellets. Wow, this is a big one. If you get hit with one, it can leave a nasty mark. At the Airsoft Factory Range in New Jersey, airsoft guns are used for sports.
Something similar to paintball, but less messier than paintball.
Teachers at the school in Indiana are furious. It hurts so bad, said one. They shot all of us across our backs. I was hit 4 times.
I was horrified when I learned of this.
Keith Campbell is vice president of the Indiana State Teachers Association. He says people waiting their turn in the Alice training could tell something was wrong.
Some who were waiting to go in did report that they heard screaming.
Les Trent spoke to Chief Sheriff's Deputy David Roth.
Do you think this demonstration went too far?
Absolutely not. It's putting them through a little bit of stress.
Hi, Mrs. Wilson. Are you able to come home early? Wrapping up dinner now? Is everything okay? It's...
I gotta give him enough credit, man. You know? Oh, no, he's majestic. I really felt like I could do that, and I just couldn't. Oh, hit him on.
fucking tough, bitch.